What's up, everybody? Jed Johnson here from DieselCrew.com. They call me Napalm, as you already know. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. Today, in day 12 of 31 days of Q&A, we're going to talk about turkeys, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to talk about turkeys. No, that is not a turkey on the sheet. That is supposed to be a hand. The question today comes from Corrado Soprano. He wants to know if I've ever had trigger finger and how you can get rid of it and prevent it. So first off, I want to just talk about what trigger finger is. I've never had trigger finger, but my background of employment is at a beef packing plant, and I do know that one of the more serious injuries that people would get aside from cuts was trigger finger, and it would result in a decent amount of therapy that would have to be done in order to get rid of it. So what is it? Well, it's supposed to be what's up in this picture up here. So what happens is, at least at the plant that I used to work at, was people would use knives and they would be cutting, and eventually what would happen is there would be inflammation inside of the sheath that surrounds the tendon inside the finger. So a finger would get stuck like this, right? Now, if you ever have this happen, guys, do not force the hand open. It can cause a lot of damage, okay? You need to ice it, apply heat, things like that. Do not force it open, okay? What it looks like inside of there, I'm going to do my best to draw this on this bigger model that really looks like a turkey. So let's represent the sheath that goes around the tendon with red, okay? So just imagine that this is on both sides of the tendon. Now the tendon is blue, okay? So the tendon passes through here, right? It should pass through nicely and smoothly. So if it looks like this, nice and even, that sheath is surrounding, and you're able to close your hand effortlessly and open it back up without any problem. If you get trigger finger, what can happen is, at a certain point here, this sheath will become inflamed, and you might have an enlargement here. And what that does is it makes it difficult for the tendon to pass through. So it'll look something like that. So you can see here, what I'm trying to draw is a uniformly shaped tendon here all the way through, but you can see the growth of this red area here in the sheath that surrounds the tendon. So what happens there is, it can start out with a little stickiness. So you try to open your hand and it kind of catches and then it pops open, right? Just dealing with this ring finger here. Trying to open your hand and it might get caught and then pop open. Get caught. What the heck is going on here? Pop open. And then eventually it might stick something like this, okay? So you don't want that to happen, unfortunately. So what you need to do is avoid, in the meat industry, what they have to do is avoid that pressure against the sheath that would cause the inflammation and cause the resistance for that tendon to be able to pass through nice and smoothly. In grip training, I've never had this happen, and the only times I've seen people's hands stick shut is when they go into spasm in their flexors and the whole entire muscle seizes up and their whole hand closes. I've never seen a case where one finger will not open from grip training or from competing in a contest. All right, so I think it's pretty rare. Although I had, believe it or not, the video that I saw on YouTube where I just got a reminder on this was people get it from like holding their steering wheel too long and pulling luggage behind them in the airport, which I can't even wrap my head around how someone could possibly get what I consider a pretty serious injury from just pulling luggage through an airport or driving, holding the steering wheel. I mean, come on. But that's what happens, guys. This is a real deal, and it kind of looks like, if you can imagine holding a pistol, it looks like a trigger. So I do know that my longtime friend Smitty got something like this. We were doing a tremendous amount of card tearing at the time, and you could feel on the tendon inside of his ring finger, there was this bally type of tissue in there, and he was having severe pain from it. It was really causing him some problems. He couldn't do a lot of training. Outside of like normal barbell training, he couldn't do grip training for a while. So what I told him to do was just press on it to try to rub that out, and it worked. Now, whether that's going to work for you, if you have anything like that, I don't know. That was just like what I pulled out of thin air about 15 years ago. I think probably a better idea is to be preventive about it. Regular stretching when you're a new trainee. Contrast baths, going back and forth between warm water and cold water in your sink would be a great idea. Maybe even ice baths in order to cut out inflammation. And then, do the dishes every so often. Get your hands soaking in nice warm water. You can sleep with gloves on to promote blood flow into your hands during the night. There's all kinds of things that you can do to prevent this. As far as fixing it, I'm going to defer to like a medical professional, and because I don't want you to do something that's going to hurt you even worse. Especially, guys, like I said, do not force the finger open, because I've heard of horror stories where the sheath actually tears, and then you have an even more serious problem. But from what I understand, you can fix this with therapy, probably just different movement patterns and using ice and ultrasonic or whatever it is with the instruments that they use on tissues, things along those lines. It can be prevented though, guys. So just don't overdo it. Don't do too much when you're new at grip training, and you should be fine, I believe. So hope that was helpful for you, Corrado, and everybody else that watched. If it was, give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe. If you have any questions for the rest of the month, leave them in the comments section below. And if you know someone who hurt their hand pulling their luggage through the airport, then you might want to send them this video. Or if they're fans of turkeys. All the best in your training. Take care.